past 2 weeks, or 1 week, I guess.
Holy shit, Kevin!
Wow! What?
You get this only nowhere else but you, Kevin and Zach. Kevin, I'm not gonna lie.
Now we're look at this. A carved penguin. There it is.
Oh no. Are the O's fine? Are the Orioles fine, Kevin?
I was so embarrassed.
Okay. The Orioles stole it. That game was stolen. It was stolen from them, then they stole it right back.
What?
Oh my God.
Wait, what's going on? What is happening?
What is going? Was it a diving play? He bobbled the ball.
What is happening? Are they challenging it? No. Other wall. No.
Kevin, I don't know what you saw, how much you saw. I've been chugging champagne. Sure, I spilled a lot, but what a game, man.
He will be the legendary
First fish!
How about that?
First fish fans, stand up. We did it.
What can I say? What can I say? What's going on, everybody? The Baltimore Orioles still suck, if you hadn't heard. They lose 7-0 to the Detroit Tigers. They get swept. And, yeah, it's kind of exhausting coming on here every day. I mean, I love it, but it's exhausting kind of going over the same storyline every single day. I mean, the team has no life. The team is dejected. Can't hit. Pitching is awful. Starters still, like, Kramer gave him 5 2/3, so that's better than less than 5, but still he can't go 6. So walks galore. Yeah, runners in scoring positions. So, it's deflating, it's dejecting. And yeah, it's tough. Welcome to Kevin and Zach React, our post-game Orioles destination. So after every single Orioles game, we go live. Win, lose, whether it's going great, whether it's going not so great like it currently is. Kevin and Zach React is always here for you. And we do have Mr. Bali on the move behind the screen. I'm going to bring him on. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, Kevin, this is
Do you hear at this point? Like, I have no life. Like, I am dejected. Like, I had gotten to the point where I could have, I was like, oh yeah, like, okay. Now I'm just like, we got to come on here for like the 8th straight day and talk about the same thing.
Yeah, and just a disclaimer, Kevin, I'm not driving yet. I'm parked in a parking lot.
Good. Safety first.
When I start driving, I'm going to go behind screen and go that while we drive.
Okay.
But
yep.
Kevin, this sucks. I'm just going to put it out. This flat out sucks. This team can't. The team can't hit. Pitching's letting them down. I don't even know if you can call anything a strong point. They got their teeth kicked in. I'm not even going to say they got their teeth kicked in. This is just not competitive. Like, that's the one thing we keep saying. It's not just that they're losing, it's how they're losing. They're not competing. It was 7, it was over today. And they had opportunities. I mean, Kevin, I'm going to check the stats right now. What were the final runners in scoring position number? Do we have that?
0 for 9.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, baby.
Meanwhile, the Tigers went 5 for 12.
So that means that if we include yesterday, they're 2 for their last 23 with runners in scoring position.
Their starters have given up 14 walks. and I'm including Morton in that conversation. I know that he didn't start the game, but he, I'm still putting him there. So
Kevin,
I think
this is
because
bad.
Dean had 4 today, and then Morton had 5, and didn't Brandon Young have 5, or did he have 4?
Yeah, he had 4 or 5.
Okay. So then, 14.
Kevin, this is, I don't know, man. This is not a good situation to be in. This is not, like, we keep talking about, 20 games, 10 games in, 15 games in, 20 games in, 27 games in. We are creeping towards that, like, Kevin, I'm not smashing the panic button, but, like, I've tested to see if it pushes. Like, I've tested it, Like, I've dipped my toe in the panic.
Yeah, I'm very fully out on this team, if you can't tell. I mean, things just have to get better. And Charlie, appreciate you for the $20. I think you might have meant to attach this message to it, but even if you didn't, I'm still going to read it out just because, just in case. Rubenstein plan: 1, demand Hyde is fired immediately. 2, give Elias 1 week hired outside manager. 3, manager's sole goal is that all core young hitters average 3 wins above replacement. 4, Elias fired if this fails. I mean, at this point, a change has to happen. And here's the thing, Zach. It's not all on Brandon Hyde, but Brandon Hyde does have
he's going to be the one to go.
Yes, Brandon Hyde does have a part to play. And yep, Charlie, appreciate you. We'll talk about it here. I think that, like, you have to do something. It would be one thing if this was going on for 5 games or 7 games, even 10 games. We are now in a stretch where, and I know some people aren't, I do take it back to last season. Like, we are months into the team looking like this. Months into players, like, Adley, for example, being very hit or miss, and a lot more it is miss with Adley so far. Gunner's defense has not improved, and they're just not hitting it all. Where, we're here celebrating a 2-hit Jorge Mateo game is the best guy on the offense, where it shouldn't be that way. The lineup also, like, I get they're going through injuries, but it's this bad, and there is no light at the end of the tunnel, it feels like. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. Like, it would feel different if they were stringing together, hey, here's a 3-game win streak, and then, they lose, like, 3 straight, and then, okay, here's a 2-game win.
When was the last time the Orioles won 3 games straight? It has to be last July.
I am honestly kind of scared to look. Can I go back to last year on the schedule tracker? Okay, I guess I can. Definitely not this season.
Yeah, definitely not this. I would say it's got to be, if it wasn't at the end of September, it was.
I'm gonna try to quickly do it. Here we go. Nope, never mind. Nope. Nope, not there. Here, nope. Again, I get 2 in a row, and then the 3rd game is. Wow, this
Eli's
is
saying we swept.
We are in July of 2024 right now.
I told you.
Here we go. It was Yankees, Rangers, July 14th, July 19th, and July 20th. So that SETI game.
So it was literally a game that they should have lost.
The game before the All-Star break, and then they beat the Rangers 9-1 the game after, and then 8-4 the game after that.
So the game they should have lost, and then So July checks out.
If you want to go back even further, it was June 27th, June 28th, June 29th when they swept. Or no, they won 3 out of 4 against 3. They won the first 3 games out of the 4-game Rangers set back in June of 2024.
Yeah.
So. Hey.
Kevin, I'm going to go behind the screen if you want to.
Okay. All right. I will. Nope. Okay. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Wrong guy.
There it is. I mean, I keep bringing up the word deflating for a multitude of reasons, but I think the one that.
Because it's deflating.
Well, yeah, but I think the reason why it is, for one of the many reasons, the one that I keep pointing to, is because my expectations, like, they were a worse baseball team coming in than they were last year, in my opinion, this season. But to have it be this bad, they're the record-wise, they are the third worst team in baseball.
Good. They're playing like it.
They have the third worst record in baseball right now. You want to guess who the other two teams are? It's probably going to be pretty easy.
The White Sox and Rockies.
Yep. But the sad part about that, and actually I think Jacob Calvin Meyer put this out, so let me try to find it real quick. Where is it? Here we go. Worst records in Major League Baseball: Orioles 10-16, White Sox 7-20, Rockies 4-22. On sports books, the White Sox were projected to win around 53.5 games. The Rockies 58.5 games. The Orioles 87.5 games. So it's one thing if you are rebuilding or if you are expected to be bad. But
I was going to say one of those teams is trying to compete right now.
And they're not doing a good job at it. And I think that, look, the locker room is clearly lost. Brandon Hyde, it's a dejected feeling. Guys are in their heads. You know, he's honestly saying some of the wrong things during these post-game press conferences.
They're all saying the wrong things. I mean,
it starts with, it starts with the owner and trickles down, obviously. But, in that clubhouse, Brandon Hyde, one of his jobs is getting his guys on track. And when he sounds defeated, he said this was the worst stretch of his tenure. And what else did he say? I'm trying to find the quotes. Here, Dean Kramer, just an hour ago, said it's tough to stay mentally engaged once things kind of start spiraling, but that's the name of the job, and being able to find our way out of that and keeping things positive. We have guys in the clubhouse who are plenty positive and try to pick us up. We're going to be okay by the end of it. He said it's really hard to lose the season in April. We still have 5 more months. Just takes a 6-7 game win streak. Then we're back at 500, and here we go. Man, I can't even imagine this team winning one game right now, let alone a 6-7 game winning streak.
If they rattle off 7 straight wins right now, Kevin, that would be the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
Let's look ahead on their schedule.
Yankees for 3 coming up. Awesome.
Yeah. When could they realistically pull off a 6-7 game winning streak? They have the Yankees coming up in the homestand. Then they have the Royals for 3. I don't think you rattle off 3 wins there, especially if they're starting their lefties. I don't know who the probables are for that series, but they're going to probably roll out at least one lefty there, and the Orioles can't hit lefties, so that's already 1 loss at least. Then you go on the road for 3 against the Twins. That is not looking too hot. You then have the Angels. Angels are playing better than people thought based off their expectations. Maybe that's a series you could get 2 or 3 from. The Angels aren't world beaters.
But I was hoping we wouldn't sit here in April and look at the Angels as the only team that we can get hot against.
Well, and that's the thing. We were celebrating the Orioles, or I guess we weren't celebrating, but it was good when the Orioles took 1 of 3 from the Nats. That's where we are right now with this
We were
team.
just celebrating getting the win column.
Now they can't even do that. So
this team they're in trouble.
You still have a long time to figure it out, but I think you have to make a change if you have any hope of figuring it out. I think you have to move on from Morton. I would assume that it's going to be Gibson for Morton. When is Gibby going to be ready this week? Is that
he should be
indication?
Yeah. He said first weeks of May, and then the way that he's been pitching, meaning the lengths of his outings, plus them having him in Aberdeen, so he's just right down the street, tells me that he's coming up very soon.
Yeah. So I think it would probably be that. Everybody knows my feeling. I think that Hyde's tenure has run out here. I think even if it is just Chirinos as the manager,
he would be the guy.
Even if it is, I think it's run its course for Brandon Hyde. And you can't waste years, in my opinion, because Dean is right. If the right changes are made, and I know Dean didn't say changes, but he said it, you can't lose the season in April. If the right changes are made, the Orioles still have enough time. It's not like they're in July right now. I think that's the last gasp, and I hate to bring the Ravens into it, because, talking to Orioles, I do host Locked On Ravens, by the way. But, when the Ravens had that atrocious secondary, they made a bunch of big changes. They took $70 million players out of the safety rotation. They cut guys who were cancers in the locker room. Like, they made the changes, and it was a last-ditch effort to say, if it's going to be bad, we might as well go down swinging and do everything we can to at least try to get the defense and get the secondary back to where we hope it and know that it can be when it's at its best. They made multiple changes. They had closed-door meetings on defense, and they came out after that second Cincinnati game, which they won, and their secondary was one of the best in the league for the rest of the season. So
Kevin,
it's not impossible to turn this around, but I do not think you can do it with this version of the team and with a couple of the guys weighing the team down right now. And I think the two that have to go, it's Brandon Hyde and Charlie Morton. And I know that firing managers this early, it's not a wonderful look, but it would honestly, I would respect the team for doing it because it's just not working right now.
I think it would buy people's confidence in the team for another 2 weeks. I think if they showed, and I'm still going to be, do I think a change needs to be made? Yeah. I don't see them doing it for another 2-3 weeks if it keeps going this poorly. But yeah, I would respect them, and I think this fan base would feel like at least they're trying to make something happen. If in, next week, if they get swept by the Yankees, I think you have to make a move.
I mean, at that point, they would have lost
6 straight.
Well, yeah, 6 straight, but then out of their last 10,
9.
Yeah, okay.
Not great, Kevin.
Just awful. I mean, the crowning moment of this season, I think, was opening day.
Opening day was fun. Remember when we were hitting bombs in Toronto? Remember our opening day in the Camden Yards when we got that win against?
Feels like 5 years ago.
Yeah, there was so much hope.
I guess, yeah. Opening day and then Baltimore opening day.
The Orioles were 2-1 at one point.
I literally think opening day was their best win of the season in terms of runs. And then I see this 24-2 score, and I'm just like, man.
That was ridiculous.
And yes, Steven, I do understand this, where it is a question of whose call is that to make, Elias or Rubenstein, or the ownership or whatever. It's an interesting question. I don't know who ultimately has that power in that decision.
Mostly it would be Elias.
I mean, I would assume, but I just don't know, because I mean, what we've been told, and the messaging to everybody, even the public, has been, Rubenstein is standing out of the way and letting Elias do his thing.
Yeah, I don't see Rubenstein being like, we got fired of the manager.
Yeah, but again, Brandon Hyde has made plenty of mistakes this season, and he certainly is responsible, but he is not solely responsible. I just think that there has to be a fall guy. There have been too many Hyde mistakes, and you can even go back to last season, but Elias deserves a lot of blame. The players deserve a lot of blame. Hyde deserves a lot of blame. I never, covering any sport, football, baseball, even back when I covered basketball, I never solely put the blame on one individual. It was always a team thing. Now, how you want to divvy up that blame, that's a different conversation. But so if you think it's more on Elias, more on Hyde, more on the players, that's something that, we can figure out. But I see, and, Gordon makes a good point here. They might use the injury excuse. And Zach, I think that's what we were kind of most afraid of last year, where
you get the injury excuse last year.
But I understand what Gordon's saying here, because maybe Elias and ownership is like, oh, well, we can't really judge the team. And that was kind of what last year was too. We really want to give it a full shot. And 2023 was so good. We want to see if we can get back there. I mean, it's different. It's just different. Gordon, I totally understand this. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if this is the route that they go. And I'm glad you brought that up. I just think that something has to change, because when guys are talking like this in the locker room, when they're clearly not having fun on the field, when Brandon Hyde is saying the wrong stuff, it's just, and then Elias comes and acts like nothing's wrong sometimes, it's tough to stomach all that at once. It'd be one thing if one thing was going badly or a couple. But I don't know. Maybe their big change is Gibson from Morton. They're going to give Hyde a couple more weeks back, like you say, or Gordon, like you're talking about the injury stuff, and then we see. But I just don't know what other big move they could make. Like, it is Morton, which is the obvious one. But other than that, I mean,
because unfortunately, it's not like you could just bring up Kobe and be like, okay, even if Kobe Mayo comes up and hits 400. He's where do you play him at what situations? Because you can't put Ramon out of the lineup. He's been your most consistent hitter outside of Mullins and O'Hearn. So it's just like I don't know what the other move would be to energize anything in this.
Well, and then you look at some of the moves that were made this offseason. Like, obviously, Tony hasn't had a great start in Toronto, but like that's just Tony. Like Tony just does not come to play at the beginning of the year ever. It's just you expect that, right?
I don't know what it is, but Anthony Santander,
dude, that and the Bengals losing their first 2 games of the season never fail. Never fail.
That's a crazy stray there.
Yeah, I know who you're with. But yeah, I feel like the Orioles, there's so much negativity right now, right? Again,
and it's not. I don't even think it's just in the fan base. There's no way that it's not in the clubhouse.
Yeah,
like we've seen it.
It's not that they're losing. It is how they are losing. It is the same stuff we have talked about for the entire year so far this year, for the entire All-Star break post after the All-Star break last year. They can't hit with the runners in scoring position. Now they can't even hit homers. I mean, I guess that's not completely true. I'll take that back. But like, they're getting more opportunities. They're just not producing with those opportunities. And it results in the same thing. Or even if your pitching staff goes out there and gives you like 3 or 4 runs out of all 9 innings, starters and bullpen, well, you don't feel confident the offense is going to score 2 to 3 or 4 to 5 runs to win the game, right? So we can talk about how bad the starting rotation has been. We can talk about the injuries of the starting rotation, but they lost Corbin. They didn't have a backup plan, or their backup plans didn't work out, so they were on last resorts. And, at the end of the day, I mean, you replace Tony with Tyler O'Neill, who is now on the IL. And again, that's who could have seen that coming? Spoiler alert, everybody. He hasn't been able to hit lefties either, which is what he was brought in for. It's tough. Oh, you disconnected. Whoops. Nope. Okay. You back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, that was my thing, where it's like the guys that you replaced Corbin with, Sagano's been great, Morton has been awful, and the guys you were relying on to become the staples of your rotation are both injured, and the guy that you expected to be your lefty masher can't hit lefties and is on the injured list, which he has been for his entire career.
I was going to say, which he spent his entire career on in April. I mean, I saw someone say the easiest bet, the freest money in sports was Tyler O'Neill to wind up on the IL in April. And it's true. His MO has always been, and unfortunately he just hasn't been with the Orioles, is he can get insanely hot and be carrying offense. He's an incredible hitter against lefties. But at the end of the day, he's always on the injured list.
It's tough, and you know what? Even Jason saying it right here. You get rid of Coulomb, and
that's still the dumbest.
Your lefty option,
people,
and
people can talk about Corbin and Santander. Them not picking up a $2.5 million deal or a year on that option for Danny Coulomb, who is your most reliable lefty reliever, literally for the past 2 years. And what's he doing? He probably sells a 0 ERA. I know through 10 innings he was. I mean, we can talk, you had elbow issue concerns. I just don't buy it. I get that they were trying to be careful and all that. It's $2.5 million. this wasn't a $20 million deal.
Yep, he's up to 10.2 on the year, 0 ERA, 1 walk.
Of course he is, because he's a stud.
And then the guy that you signed in Kittredge has not pitched this year and will not pitch for the next couple of months. And Perez is not good right now. So
ain't that the irony?
Oh man. All right. Let's get to some call-ins here. I'm gonna place the link. If you are a member, you can find it in the community posts tab on the YouTube channel. We are going to if you want to come. Oh, I got signed out. Okay.
You get signed out too?
Did you sign me out?
No, I got signed out.
Are you sabotaging me right now?
No, but the other day I got signed out too.
All right, well, I'm going to re-sign in, and then I will put the link. So let me do that real quick. Okay. When did you get, like yesterday you got signed out?
No, like maybe like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I don't know why it does that.
Just right.
All right, well, I am re-signed in, so do not fret.
I love it, Kevin. This is why.
Well, always showing up.
Low adversity, face of adversity.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Unlike the Orioles, when it matters the most, Kevin, you're coming through in the clutch.
Someone has to. So
I appreciate it. Kevin, I do have to hop off though. I am. This is
okay. I will do call-ins. We'll have some fun, or just talk about anything other than the Orioles. So appreciate you popping in. Go have fun.
I'll try after this.
Try to break the curse somehow.
I'll try, Kevin. I really will.
Yeah, you know what, Joey, you're right. His phone's definitely.
Oh my God!
He's definitely on 3%. It is. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Yeah, that's it, Kevin. Not this time. But I'm sure.
Okay.
Sure, it'll happen. I'll see everyone. Appreciate you, Kevin.
All right, there he goes, Zach Bollinger. All right, let's get the call-in link in here. Link. Got to make this members. Okay, all right. Link is up in the post tab. If you want to pop in for a few minutes, talk Orioles, talk anything else, more than welcome. Appreciate everybody who's tuning in. This is Kevin and Zach React, your Orioles post-game destination. So, we've been kind of weathering a tough storm so far this season. It's not been as fun as I anticipated, but it's always great to hop on here and talk about it regardless. Might not be fun all the time to talk about how bad they are, but the community we've built, Zach and I really do appreciate it. And, it's only up from here. So, okay. Let's get into our first column. We got a couple already popping in. We know who we're going to first. He's on the outside. It is Poison Ivy Joe. Joe, how you doing? Can you hear me,
Kevin? I can. Can you hear me?
I can. How you healing up? Is it getting better?
We're getting there. We're outside. Doing some lawn work. It's a little warm out here, but it's all good.
The weather's turning. At least that's warm, that's a positive.
Yeah, we're getting better. You know what though? Staying positive because we haven't lost 55 games yet. So 108 and 54 is still in play.
You know what? If you want to run the math, you are correct.
Is it bad?
Know.
Yeah, it's bad. But, sometimes you just got to believe. You know how when you get out of school, you want that great job and you believe in it so hard that you're going to get the best job when you graduate, and it takes you forever to find that good job coming out of college, that high-paying job you want. Sometimes you just have to believe, and I believe in the Orioles.
Hey man, if you still have belief,
and I don't stand on that hill.
Hey, I don't blame you.
Is it rough? Is it rough? Yes, but I saw a stat that said we're the 9th highest average in MLB. The hitters just have to learn to hit a little bit better. The pitching's coming around. Kramer went 5 2/3, 3 runs. As far as I'm concerned, that's all the runs that were given up because Perez sucks and the rookie is a rookie. It's only his second time pitching. So, got to give him some props on at least showing up and trying. He's a rookie. Never even heard of him until 2 days ago. Perez, his days are probably numbered. If I had to guess, Perez is probably DFA'd for Gibson and Morton goes to the bullpen because they're not going to eat $15 million 1 month in. They're just not going to do it. They're going to give him a shot to try to get it right in the bullpen. Give him an inning. Like 1 or 2 innings, he seems good. By the 3rd inning, he's garbage. Like he came out there yesterday, 1st inning was good. 2nd inning, 4 walks. So you make him a 1.5 inning reliever, 3 outs, let him get you 3-4 outs out of the bullpen. I think it'll be okay. But starting pitching, not his thing anymore.
Yeah, I worry if it doesn't get better with him, and you're mentioning like maybe try him in a shorter reliever role. I do understand that like eating 15 mil or whatever it is now, 1 month into the season is not only a bad look, but it's a waste of money. I just think that at this point you're playing a man down in your pitching staff, and we saw that at the end of last season with Kimbrel. And they waited too long to get off of him when he probably should have been gone. So,
hey, sometimes in your 40s, a career change is a good idea. Starting pitcher to relief pitcher is a career change. I applaud people that try to change their careers late in life. That's good on them. Let's make him a good, solid reliever. Give him a couple innings. Let him retire. Go be with his grandkids. Be okay. But and if he sucks out of the bullpen by June, see you later, Charlie. Thanks for your time.
I think if they
something's got to give.
If they don't have a choice, I don't think, to try to move him around here. He's definitely done as a starter, and if they do decide to keep him,
and guess what? Mountcastle has 2 options left. If he don't get it right, send his ass down. Let Kobe come up, give it a shot. If Mountie comes back to form in AAA, bring him back. See, let the 2 boys fight it out for that spot.
And that kind of stinks as well because Mountie's just been on the struggle bus, and it really felt like they could have maybe flipped him for a Seattle pitcher at some point in the offseason, or maybe attached a prospect and gotten somebody, and it feels like that dream is long gone. So I don't really know where you go. It's not like the pitchers are giving up like a crazy amount of runs as starters. It's just that they're walking a ton of people. They're spreading out hits, and they're not able to go deeper into ball games, which in turn taxes your bullpen. So, and the fact that, Suarez is on the 60 IL, and that's a long guy that you could have used. I mean, Morton, you would have hoped if starting didn't work out, he could be a long guy, but clearly we saw yesterday that probably isn't an option. So they're in a tough spot, and then the offense can't hit with their own scoring position. So you're right, Joe. I mean, look, 9th or whatever you said it was, right? 9th batting average in the league. But runners of scoring position, they're getting opportunities, but they're not taking advantage of the opportunities that they're getting. So,
and they're hitting the ball on the ground, and their double play ball is ridiculous. You gotta hit it in the alleys. Hit them where they're not. It's fundamentals. The fundamentals are off.
Yeah,
and somewhere that's not being. I mean, I don't know what's going on in that clubhouse. It doesn't really matter. They're professionals. They need to get their act together, get their shit together, for lack of a better term, and not be in each other's heads. I mean, you see Heston going out there, and he since he got hit, he's in his own head. He's swinging at garbage pitches and not making good contact, and swinging for the fence when he does make contact. It's tough. But
it's rough all the way around. So hopefully they can get it back on track, Joe.
And the Hogs dropped 2 or 3 to Florida this weekend. So
it's just all going wrong. Weekend. It's just all going wrong.
9 games left, 3 tough SEC series to finish out the year. So hopefully they get it right. And we get top 8 seeding.
Gotta turn it around.
It,
Orioles and Hogs, turn it around. That is the goal for the next.
It's baseball. It's baseball, man. It's long way to go.
It's how it goes. It's how it goes. But Joe, appreciate you as always, man. Appreciate you hopping on. Anything else before you head out of here?
Ruck Faco.
As it should be. As it should be. All right, Joe. Appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon, all right?
Later.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Joe. And all right, yeah. I mean, look, if you still have belief, I don't blame you, Joe. The others who do, I don't blame you. But something has to change. I don't know what that looks like. Again, I think there's a varying opinion on what that is, whether it's Morton, Hyde, Perez, etc. But it's not that they're losing; it's how they're losing. So let's continue on the call-ins. We got Eli up next. So let me find Eli here. Eli, let's bring him on. Eli,
Hey,
how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. As good as I can after the Orioles and how they're playing right now.
Do you watch hockey at all out of curiosity?
I'm not a big hockey guy. I keep up with it. I'm actually a Ducks fan. I'm not a Caps fan. So I've been in.
Oh, why do you? That's so random.
I know. Oh, that and the Nuggets. When I was 7, I wanted a favorite basketball team and a favorite hockey team, and I wanted to be different because all my friends were Cat fans and all my friends were Wizards fans. So I wanted to be different, and I said, you know what? I like the Ducks name and I like the Nuggets name, so I'm going to become a Ducks and Nuggets fan. And then I've just stayed loyal. That's just that's the reason why.
Yeah, I mean, at least the Capitals play at 6:30, so I'm hoping they can beat Montreal and just make me forget this game ever happened.
That's the only hope. You know, it's a lot better to be a Caps fan right now than it is to watch this Orioles team. So
even though we just lost our goalie Logan Thompson, so although I do have confidence that Charlie Lindgren is capable, I don't think it's that big of a drop off. I think we can still win with Lindy, at least against Montreal.
Yeah, I mean, one of the coolest things this year was watching Ovi get the record, man. I mean, I know that it's kind of cliche to say, but watching him do that and in the way that he did it was just unbelievable.
Yeah, because imagine that bit at home, how much capital.
I know. I wanted it to be. I wish he had gotten it at home. I wanted it to be at home, but you know what? It was still really cool. I mean, just the response throughout the league and. know, he's a legend, man. It's been cool to see him, even though I'm not a Caps fan, to be in the area. The grade 8s, man. I mean, that number 8 is something in the DMV area with Lamar, Cal, and obviously Ovi. So
yeah, but it seems like the Wizards and Commanders don't really have a grade 8 yet.
Yeah, I'm trying. Brian Robinson, number 8, maybe he can be the grade 8. The next,
but I mean, I'm a big Commanders fan, so it's like I feel like our draft was fairly solid. I mean, at least I got the Capitals and Commanders, even the Orioles have been awful.
Yeah.
And the Wizards,
the Commanders draft. I mean, I like the Tunsil trade for them, so I think that was worth giving up the picks. And then, you know, it's protecting Jaden Daniels, man. You know, getting Connolly in there, Tunsil, that'll be a big help.
Yeah. Anyways, as far as I guess I'll talk a little bit baseball here. As far as like I know we're talking about we need to replace item. Would you go with internal or would you take someone from the outside? Like I say, like the Marlins got rid of Skip Shoemaker, but remember he won the 2023 NL Manager of the Year and took the Marlins of all teams to the playoffs. So what would you think about maybe hiring someone like him? I mean, someone needs to come and shake up the clubhouse. Like what's your thoughts on this?
I feel like if they were to make a move now, they would probably try to salvage it with an internal guy, but it would unless they like won the World Series, like with a Trinos or a Buck Britton, I would probably say like I think that if the Orioles don't at least make it to the ALDS this year, Hyde is gone regardless. And honestly, I could even make an argument for ALCS based off expectations. It just feels like it's Hyde's last year. If it is, and he gets like, let's just say they hold on to him for the rest of the year. Someone like that does make sense. There are other guys that are out there as well. I don't have a full list in front of me, but I just think that shaking up the clubhouse is a good idea because, again, like it just feels so lifeless in the clubhouse right now. Like that's the biggest problem.
Because I think overall Hyde's done a pretty solid job of managing the team, throughout the whole body of work from when he started. But I think he's just getting so desperate right now that he's overthinking everything, he's overanalyzing everything, and with the lineups, he's like sometimes you just get that point where you're just out thinking yourself and you're out managing yourself, and also think that like I don't know, it just seems like sometimes the voice gets stale, and even this happens all the time in sports, not just baseball, like hockey, football, whatever, where coaches the team, it just gets stale. The team gets tired of hearing the same thing, and they just need something different. So that's kind of what I think, because I think Hyde would be a decent hire, at least as bench coach or even manager for another rebuilding team. But I think at this point, it's like it's just time for him to go.
Yeah, I think Hyde was perfect for the early days of this rebuild and kind of getting them back to relevancy. But I think after the last couple of seasons, especially with how the playoffs have gone, and I mean, post All-Star break last year into now we're coming up on May this year, not a lot has changed in way of trends getting better. And that's what I wanted to see, especially over the first month of the year, because you know what, they're 27 games in right now, and that's not in the grand scheme of 162 a huge amount, but it's also not a super small amount either. You know, it's far less than halfway through, right? We're far away from that, but you know, if we go back 3-4 months, this has been some of the same stuff with runners in scoring position, you know, the offense not getting timely hits, sometimes relying too much on the home run ball, and they're getting opportunities. They're just not capitalizing. And when the message is like this, when you have your pitchers doubting themselves and, you know, Hyde not really saying a lot of the right things in the press conferences like I'm talking about, you know, it just makes for a very difficult environment off the field, which then translates on the field, I think, to some of the dejectedness that we're seeing.
Yeah, and I mean, you make a lot of good points. So I mean, it'll be interesting. Like you think you think Buck Brennan, if they decide to go internal, would be a good option. Like because if they do it in season, it's probably gonna be internal. But if they do open up in the off season, maybe let's say move on during the season, they still end up finishing below 500 and decide to not remove the internet tag and decide to open up to everyone. You know, that'd be something interesting to consider.
Yeah, I think it would be between Chirinos and Buck Britton. I don't hate either option. I mean, those would be the two that you're looking at. I feel like they might just go with Chirinos over Buck Britton because of, you know, the experience he's had with the guys and that familiarity. Not that Buck hasn't had that, obviously, with him managing a lot of them, but still, I feel like they might favor Chirinos. But if it was Britton, I'd be more than on board. I think that both those guys are ready, and obviously Britton with the experience managing down in the minor leagues, like he has more experience than Chirinos in that regard. So either way, I think it'd be good, but I just think that a big move has to happen. So we will see how it all goes. But Eli, I appreciate you hopping on. Anything else before you get out of here?
I guess I'm good. I'll let someone else hop on.
Well, always appreciate you calling in, Eli. Don't be a stranger. Hope to see you back here soon.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. All right. Appreciate you, Eli. Yeah, it's tough. You know, it seems like we're having this. I mean, are we sure this isn't the same episode from a week ago? Like, it just feels like we're talking about the same stuff over and over and over again. So it's unfortunate, but I guess they just got to get back on a saddle. But maybe they just don't know how right now with how dejected and bad it is in that locker room. So let's keep the call-ins moving along. Laura, we got up next. Let me find her over here. Laura, you know, a face can say 1,000 words, and I think yours just did. Oh, same tag as yesterday.
Because I got nothing. A tale of fantasy baseball. Scooble gets me 30 points. Herstead gets me -4.
Yep.
Jackson gets me -2. So yeah,
is what it is.
Yeah.
It's how it goes, but it's unfortunate that it just kind of feels like this is what it is with this team. And
I admit it. My prediction, sure to go wrong, for the season was that these Orioles were going to win the AL. That was my prediction.
Yeah.
And I am admitting here on, what's today's date? April 27th?
27th, yep.
I'm admitting here on April 2027 that I was wrong. I was wrong. Because I just don't think they can do it. I just don't think they can get back into it. Yes, we're only, 6 games out of the lead in the East?
That sounds right.
6 or 7. So, I mean, maybe if there's some spark lit underneath them, but what is the spark? That's the question. What's going to be the spark?
Yeah, and again, I've mentioned there are a lot of ways that could come, whether it's Hyde, Perez, Morton, all going. maybe in some world it's Kobe Mayo coming up and giving the offensive spark. I don't know. Like
That was my thing. Is it bringing somebody up to give us a spark?
yeah,
Something. We need to do something different at this point because what we're doing is not working.
yeah,
And I keep
and
saying we like I'm on the team.
no,
Um,
no, we're hey, we're all fans. We're all part of it.
so I'm not sure if you saw earlier today that I did go back last night, do some more reading, do some more research, and I did raise my grade for the Ravens draft from A minus B to a solid A.
Let's go. Yeah,
Everybody keeps saying, we don't have 11 spots, but you know what? If these guys can produce, we can find spots for them.
that's right. That's right.
Because I do think we really did get a really, really good class of guys that can really make an impact.
I agree.
I know it's not football season yet, but I mean, rookie camps, mini camps are going to be starting pretty soon here. So I'm really interested to kind of see what happens there.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
The only reason I could think of why you became a Ducks fan is because you secretly really want to be Joshua Jackson because, he gets all the ladies.
Now that was back when Pronger was there, and I don't know if it was a young Corey Perry. I don't even know if he was on the team because I became a Ducks fan the year they won the Cup in 2006. So
I was talking more about the movie, The Mighty Ducks.
oh no! I just literally liked their name. Like I didn't even know the Mighty Ducks existed. Like I know it does now, but like after the fact,
that's how they became the Mighty. The movie was before.
Yeah.
So, and Joshua Jackson, who was Pacey on Dawson's Creek, that was one of his very first roles. He was one of that. I forgot the name of the character, but he was one of he was the star little kid on the team. So, so people who quote unquote love Joshua Jackson are like, I remember when he was in the Mighty Ducks and he was kid, and now he's grown into this kind of handsome silver fox kind of dude. So I thought you were trying to be Joshua Jackson.
No, I could never. That was. Some people called me a front runner for doing it because they're like, "Oh, you only picked them because they won the championship that year," and I'm like, "No, I literally just like the name. I remember watching the old like ESPN news, back before everything changed, and they were hoisting the cup up, and then I think they literally have been bad almost ever since."
Pretty much from somebody that used to live in that area in Orange County, California. That was the high point, and it ain't been high ever since. No.
And you know what? Sometimes windows shut like that, and you can relate that
exactly. Our Orioles window is shutting.
Mm-hmm. You can relate that right back to this team where you cannot take the fact that these guys are young for granted. You have to capitalize every year. Has to be a compete year. You cannot waste seasons. Right now, Laura, the season's far from done. I will be the first to say that, but they're teetering in a bad direction.
We're officially a month in. So we are officially 1/6 of the way through. 6 months for a baseball season.
Yeah. I mean look, it's not a big amount in the grand scheme of 162, but it's also not a small amount. That's what I've been trying to say. So
correct. So again, what's the move? What do we see tomorrow, this week, etc., to where I can change my tagline for
I know. Well, I'm always talking Ravens on Locked On Ravens. So I always have something to say about that team. I have for the past 5+ years. Tomorrow, actually, Friday will be my 1,500th episode of Locked On Ravens. So
really, are we having a celebration?
I don't know what there is to do. I'm just probably gonna put out a post on social media and be like, "Hey, this is what it is." So
I don't know. We should have a celebration of some sort.
I know someone should give me like $1 million or something. That would be
I don't know nothing about that.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying if somebody's listening and you have an extra $1 to throw around, if you
extra $1 to just throw your way.
If you want to send them my way, I'm not going to complain about it. So.
Okay, so what about the Nuggets? So can I put in my tagline? Let's talk Nuggets.
I could go on forever about the Nuggets. I don't know what the heck happened yesterday.
Okay,
they won the game, but
they did win. They did ultimately win.
The closest buzzer beater I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, but so So that's really all, because I really have nothing more than no one else is saying, whether it's in the Discord, whether it's in the chat here. I mean, we all see it, we all know it. I mean, it's just a matter of, I know management knows it. So it's just a matter of what are they going to do and when they do it, when they pull the trigger.
Yep, we'll see. But at this point, Laura, I think that, again, I would have a lot of respect for them if they did make a big change, and that if they still kept losing, I would have the respect that, at least they tried to switch it up. But if they keep going the way that it is right now, and it continues to go the way that it is, it would just, and then they decide to make a change maybe 3/4 of the way through the season. At that point, it's too little, too late.
Oh, it's too late. It's too late at that point. If we're still losing like this, yeah. I mean, at the very latest, we got to do something by the trade deadline. So, and again, we say that every year. What are they going? What's the big trade? What are they going to pull the trigger on? And let's see. One last thing. What is your spicy ramen recommendation?
Like, if someone wants to try it?
Yes.
I know that the Bulldog ramen is popular. I can't remember the brand that I had. Oh my, I'm trying to remember the brand that I had now. Yeah, Bulldog
okay.
ramen.
Because I'm ready to spice it up. So I got to do something.
Okay, so Bulldog is the one that people like. The one that I had, I literally just think is called hot and spicy.
Okay.
I see it right. Oh no, it's Nissin.
Nissin. Oh, the Nissin hot and spicy.
Nissin hot and spicy.
I can get that. Okay.
So they have a bunch of different, like. The spice levels. So I mean, I'm sure that, like, if you go to a ramen section at a grocery store, they'll have at least one of those. So
okay, sounds good. I wanted to see what it was that you had and you recommended before I.
I look, despite the fact that it absolutely tears through me and I can't handle spice, it actually does taste good. So, like, non-spicy ramen, I would eat that up on that brand, either brand. So.
That sounds like a plan.
Awesome. All right, Laura, appreciate you as always. We'll talk soon. Hopefully more Orioles than Ravens in the future, because hopefully they'll start winning again. So
always a pleasure, Kevin.
Awesome.
Talk to you later.
Laura, take it easy. Appreciate you. All right, let's keep it moving along. We got Gordon up next. Let me find him over here. Gordon, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Kevin?
Not a lot of good with this Orioles team, I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh, who do you look? I don't want them to bring a manager from inside. I want them to, bring somebody's fresh new ideas to the plate, because I feel like if they bring a guy from the inside, I don't know if they'll either be yes men, or even if they agree with what Hyde is, and then they'll just teach what Hyde taught 2.0.
Sure.
Like, I need somebody fresh, somebody new, because, like, it seems like from top to bottom with this organization right now, their teachings and what they felt is getting stale, and something new needs to get changed. So, and it's like, yeah, I need somebody new. I like the guys that we do have, but I need somebody new, And another thing is, I feel like the Orioles, they exceeded expectations way too much for this organization to keep up. Like, I feel like here, I wrote, watching the game earlier today, I wrote some notes, and I put some notes down on, like, things like what I was saying was about the expectations. It's like, I feel like we exceeded expectations. Yes, winning 101 games, but with the bare minimum of this team, like, we had guys like Adam Frazier come in and be huge play guys for us. Aaron Hicks be guys that nobody wanted on their team. DFA'd on the Yankees to come play with us. Nobody, like, very low expectation guys exceeding expectations. We had our rookies and, Gunnar and Adley exceed that expectations, coming in straight balling, to where it's like, oh, we'll do the same thing. We'll just make these little low minimum impact trades or signings, and then, they'll just exceed expectations. But this year is the not outlier year, but the year where, talent, like, you have to play baseball versus, just let your talent go out there and win, and it's just like, like when it's time for us to go out there and play ball and play team ball instead of having like Adam Frazier come out there in the 9th inning, in the 8th inning, in the 7th inning where it seems fun but less sustainable, it's like we're falling short of that. People that we're signing aren't producing, and unless your name's Ramon Laureano, who keeps getting close with a home run, if the field was like a foot or two, closer, then Ramon Laureano would at least have like 5 or 6 home runs on his season so far. But, like I just don't know what's up with this front office, with this team. And it's just like, bro, like it just goes back further than just this year, so. I don't know.
It's tough to see them continuously struggle the way that they have, and not a lot of the trends that we saw be improved upon. And, stuff that I've said seems like 80 billion times at this point, but like
literally
they can't hold runners in scoring position. The pitching staff can't go deep into games. They sometimes rely on the home run ball a lot. And, you look at the offseason moves that they made, and I know I talked about this earlier in the stream, in the show, but you move on from Tony, who again is struggling right now, but that's just
he always
Tony.
struggles.
He always struggles early on, right? And then O'Neill comes in. You expect him to be a god against lefties, and he can't hit lefties, and he's on the IL, which is a story of his career.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, everybody saw this coming, and
literally
now Cowser's down, and his timeline is, man, I can't even. It's probably 3 weeks away now ish.
And
weeks away.
And those injuries, like I just feel like we're going to just have how can we produce if everybody that we signed or everybody we expected to have this 80-win or 90-win season is injured? Like, it's not like we're going out there it would be like understandable if we're going out there getting, I mean, technically we kind of are, but again, 10 runs put on us, 12 runs put on us, and our offense is, like, I mean, dang, that kind of is what's happening, but it's like, we're in close games, but it's like we're in the close games that we're getting blown out, and then after a certain point when it's point of no return, the other team just put a couple runs to make the game seem like it's out of put. Like, we're in these close games, like in the 7th inning we'll be down by 3 runs. You can come back by that. It's like from the first inning they have like 1 run on the offense, and then they'll give up another solo run, and by the 6th or 7th inning 2 runs are there, and we're in the games. And it's like, that's just what's the most frustrating point. Every game that we're in, we're literally right there. And instead of finding games to win, we're finding games to lose. And I was watching the Tigers broadcast, because I have yet to get the Masson, or when not my broadcast and the Masson broadcast that I normally watch was down. So I had to watch the Tigers, and those guys over there just having fun. I'm not going to say making fun of the Orioles, but talking about things that the Orioles aren't doing, and they're kind of baffled by it themselves. Like, and they're like, you would expect this team to put more runs up on the board by just doing the simple things. And they had like a segment like about doing the simple things, and that's why they like their guys so much. And guys that's like, instead of swinging at certain balls, they're taking walks and being more aggressive when they need to be more aggressive. Javier Baez, McKinstry, like those guys that you really want to see. I mean, obviously they have the name, but the most recent years they're a little bit struggling, but this year they're doing the little things to make the team win. And the Orioles aren't doing that. When I was watching it, I'm like, man, I remember feeling like this with the Orioles having 18 wins and 7 losses and being like, oh my goodness, we're in a great position, and being in a race with the Yankees, and looking at the Yankees and being like, oh, they lost today, and being happy. Like, right now, I'm not even worried about any other team in our division right now. What I'm focused on is just what this team has to go through and each and every day, and just like just getting a win column. I'm not even worried about any other team, and I wish I was, because that means we're being competitive. We're not even competitive right now, and it's just like, if I was in that locker room, I would tell them, I don't care what happened yesterday. Everything, throw it out. We're starting the season over today, 0-0. We just got swept. That sweep didn't even happen. Yes, it happened, but start the season over today, 0-0. And, go out there and have fun. At least if you're going to go out there and lose, have fun losing. At least find the little things to be excited about. If instead of being mad that you struck out, be happy that you got the pitcher to throw at least 6 or 7 pitches, and that brought him down. Just change your mindset about the little things and have those small victories. You know, like right now, the best thing that the Orioles can do with how terrible they're doing and how much it plays on your mental, small victories matter. You know, like just the little things that, you know, even though the product might not be there, but let's say you hit the ball, like those things can start building on you as a team. You know, and it's like it seems like guys aren't even doing that. It just seems like everything is just a struggle, a struggle, a struggle, and it's just like, bruh,
Yeah.
it's
It's tough, and it just feels like there's so much pressure, and part of that is because whether they feel like the expectations are high on themselves, or they feel the outside noise, whatever it is. There's no joy in any of it for them. And look, losing is not fun. Like, you're not going to have fun losing, but at least when things are going wrong, a lot of these, I shouldn't say a lot, some of these teams are able to shake it off, go to the next game, exactly like what you said. Hey, man, that happened. Flush it and let's go to the next one. It just feels like it's all carrying over, and it is like none of it's going away. It just keeps stacking on itself, and it's whether it
for
explodes
real.
one day or not, I'm not sure. But
These guys, look, they need to all come in there with a clean shave tomorrow. Everybody, the whole team does it. Like, shave the hair, shave whatever, and then come in fresh. Like, they need some team morale, or need something, But look, it can't be worse than I know being an Orioles fan is hard right now, but it cannot be worse than being working so hard and being a NFL scout or a NFL coordinator and having your son prank Shadur
yeah,
Sanders.
that was
Like,
crazy,
I know,
man.
like how does that even, like, I saw a tweet earlier that it was and like the way they got their phone was like, I guess they gave it to the Falcons, and the Falcons, like, one of the coordinators or whoever had the number, like, pranked them. And I'm just like, you really thought what was your mind process going through that? Like when you saw that, what were you thinking? Like, that's just messed up. It's just certain things you don't do, and it's like,
I
what are
know.
people's man, that's just messed up on so many levels.
I know it's disrespectful, and it wasn't even Shadur that it happened to. It was Tyler Warren, and
Yeah,
apparently a sixth-round pick got prank called like 5 times with different teams, and then he was finally picked. I think it happened to an undrafted guy. So we have definitely not heard the last of this. Like, I think
I
we're
know.
gonna hear more about it. I'm not
Can you
sure.
even do something about that? Like, can you expel him? Like, I know with him, like, expel him from school, or like, are there any
I don't
legal
know. I
repercussions
don't
of that,
know.
or like?
I have no idea. I don't know. Apparently, the Falcons aren't going to take any action against the coordinator. So,
Yeah, because I mean, it's not like it's his fault. You can't. I mean,
right. Yeah, I think, what was
but
it? He left his iPad open or something,
yeah,
and they got it. So, yeah, it's
or
just,
I know it's just crazy. But I'm like,
yeah,
look, as long as we're here every day, at least getting able to make these talks about the Orioles, nothing can really truly be bad. I'd rather be sitting here talking about how crappy the Orioles
yeah,
are,
man, yeah,
be going through things like that. At least I'd rather sit here and watch the Orioles lose than to not have any Orioles baseball at all. The off season
yeah.
sucks. I'd rather sit here and talk and, have these conversations. At least it's not too late, but these wins do matter. Like, every win matters, and every
Yeah.
loss matters, because, in the end of the season, they count.
Yeah,
This is
even if they do turn it around and
right.
they become competitive again, in some way, shape, or form, we will be talking about this month of April and how maybe it screwed them out of the division, or a favorable wild card spot, or whatever it is. Like, the losses now don't matter in April, but they are going
Yeah.
to matter in September. So,
I heard the Blue Jays are struggling, or literally had like their worst like span of baseball too, going like 6 for 66 against a 3-game set against, I forgot who they played, but I remember watching like one of their guys. I follow like a couple of their guys that do their like Blue Jays podcast and stuff. They're going through the same thing as us too right now, and they're going heavy on Tony right now too. But I'm
yeah.
like, they don't understand. Tony will get through it. Tony will get
I
through it.
actually saw that Tony just hit a homer.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Good for Tony. At least, when was the last game the Orioles actually had like a 2-game home run from like somebody, like, it seems like we're getting singles or
Uh,
solo home runs, and that's it. And we'll get extra base hits during crap time. But like, when was the last time we actually had a game where we strung together like good three extra base hits in a span of 3 outs? Like, it's been a long time. Like, the Orioles haven't scored 4
my
runs
finger on
or
it.
5 runs in a it's been a while. And that's another thing that's frustrating. It's not like we're just losing, or it's like we're setting historic records of how bad we are. With Dean Kramer, the 8 hits, and like with the way our offense and pitching is, it's like since 1954 they haven't seen terrible pitching like this for a long time, or something I've saw. And I'm like, it's really that bad. We can't just lose and just lose. But it's like, when we lose, we have to lose.
Oh man, it's tough right now, Gordon. But you know what? Hopefully they can pull it together. Hopefully
They will.
they can. So appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you calling in. We'll talk soon. All right.
Yes, sir. Be
Cool,
safe.
man. All right. Yep. You too, man. Peace out. All right. Let's move it on along. Last call in. We got Steven behind the screen. Let me find him here. There he is. Steven, how you doing, my man?
The story of our past year. Pitchers getting too high in the count, not lasting more than 5 innings. Our guys not pushing runs over. And it's like, what is in their head that's keeping them from doing this?
When you get so deep in it and everything's going wrong, I mean, it's just a matter of mental toughness. And, it goes, I mentioned, from ownership down. Obviously, it's on Hyde to get his guys ready to play and to make sure that his team can weather those storms. And it just feels like, from his messaging in the press conferences, it only makes me wonder what's the messaging in the locker room and what he's saying.
I don't think he's pushing anybody. I think he's coddling them.
Which, it has to be a balance. And that's the job. That's the job of a manager, is to
push.
Yeah,
because you're a professional. At this
Right.
point, you're getting paid to play. It's not just a game. It's you're being paid to perform. Honestly, while I like Buck Britton, there is another Buck sitting there on the MLB network that was an Oriole manager that had a young team that pushed us into the playoffs that we know here in Baltimore. Buck Showalter. He's sitting there waiting.
There he is.
He has proven track record of pushing his players and making them perform.
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
Not making excuses.
I'm not sure if Buck wants to get back into it, but if he does, I would not say no. I would not say no.
And I think he would probably want to come here because I'm sure he loved being here. Yeah. And the reason why he got out was they were about to go into their rebuilding phase, and that's when Brandon Hyde came in. So,
right.
I
wouldn't hate it.
This is their window, and he's good at taking players in their window and making them perform. They need someone outside. They don't need someone inside right now.
Those teams were fun to watch.
They were overperformers, and that was because of Buck.
Yeah. And Buck isn't for everyone, but Buck knows how to get the best out of guys.
My cousin was drafted by Buck. He was a Met.
Oh,
he went down to the St. Lucie. He was
that's awesome.
AAA, and we went up to I forgot where it was, but now he's in the International League. But yeah, he was there. He was drafted in 23. Yeah, 23.
Oh, all right, man. That's awesome. I love it. I just don't know, like, again, where this team. I mean, look, there are a lot of ways they could go. But if they just continue on this stretch, and again, like, now you have 3 against the Yankees coming up, and if that goes poorly,
have to pull the trigger.
Yeah, you're digging yourself into a very deep hole. Which, again, like, it's early enough where sure they can climb out of it, but the hole is going to be so deep that it might cost them a playoff spot, or it might cost them the division. And at that point, it's like you play the whole season, you fight and you claw, and you fight and you claw. and all of it might be for nothing if they don't
Right.
fix this as soon as they can. So
Yeah. It's coming to a point where they're going to have to make a decision because
Yeah.
if this is their window, it comes from the top. This point is coming from the top. So Elias can draft great position players. He hasn't been able to draft decent pitching. And he hasn't gotten decent pitching from trades.
right.
Where the guys that have been here have only been here for 1 year and then gone. And if you're going to give up pieces for that, you need to do something a little bit better than that.
Right. I had said that the second they traded for Corbin, that was when the real expectations
They should
started.
have thrown money at him like nothing we've ever seen here.
Yeah, and look, even because it was pretty apparent that he was going to go back to Arizona unless the Orioles did give him like $1 bajillion.
Right.
But
Unless they gave him like a monster deal because he wanted to be close to home. The only reason that would have kept him here was we were in contention.
Right. I just think that even if it wasn't Corbin, like they had an opportunity to trade for Crochet and they didn't take it.
They didn't do it.
Or they had an opportunity to go get
One of the
another
Seattle
guy.
pitchers,
Yeah, exactly. Like it just felt like they had a bunch of options staring them in the face, and they decided to whether it was get too cute with it or trust the young, or I guess pitchers. It was old core a little too much with the guys that they signed. There had to be a balance because again, Zach and I talked about it all offseason. It was like the Sagano move by itself was like fine as long as you made a move to go get another ace number 2-ish quality pitcher. You know, Morton by himself would have been okay if they had made a move for Crochet, because at least with Morton blowing up the way that he has, you would have had to.
He would have been a 5. He would have been a number 5,
and you would have been able
and you're
to
not
lean on
expected to
Crochet.
win on a number 5.
Exactly, and you would have been able to lean on a Crochet. But now your security blanket and Corbin is gone. The two that you were expecting to anchor rotation and Grayson and Eflin are injured, and you know who knows if Grayson's going to come back this season. And Eflin
minimum.
Exactly. I don't know when he's going to come back either. So they made this bed. They have to lay in it, and they had opportunities to go about it a different way, and you know they didn't capitalize. So
yeah, it's another woulda, coulda, shoulda. So yeah.
Yep, that's how it goes in sports. It's unfortunate, but
yep,
there are always those teams. So all right, Steven, appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully, we're talking after a win next time.
No, this is our nightly grief session.
I know. That's what it feels like. I don't want I want it to be this way for the losses. I just don't want them to lose. That's
exactly not the way they're losing. I don't mind if they fight it out, but the way they're losing, it's just come on.
It's deflating, and it's the same script every game. It feels like
right.
So
if you're gonna tank the season, at least tank the season.
I know. At least make it a little fun and enjoyable. Don't have it be like this.
Don't shoot yourselves in the foot, which is what they're doing.
Yeah, every game. But all right, Steven, appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon. All right.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, hour and 12 minutes in. Orioles lose 7-0 to the Tigers. 3-game set with the Yankees is on deck, so not a lot of time to get it right. You got to get it right now, because if you lose this series, even if you take one of these 3 games, you're still digging yourselves into a hole. So got to get it right. Hopefully they can, but there doesn't seem like there's a lot of life in this team right now. Hopefully they can get it back, but we will see. That's all I have here today, though. And Kevin and Zach React. Appreciate everybody again for being here, for tuning in, even after the tough losses like this one. We're here for you after every single Orioles game, so after every win and after every loss, we have you covered. So be safe, everybody. Be good, and we will talk again next time. Bud Norris.